Hey everyone, and welcome back. This is the Taroscope for this full moon in Taurus for all 12 zodiac signs. And this is for sun, moon, and rising. So we will start with Taurus. So this is in your first house if you are a Taurus rising. So starting off with the Connolly Tarot deck, we have the Eight of Wands, Temperance in reverse, and let's pull another one on that. So three more wanted to come out. We have the Ace of Wands, the Three of Wands, and the Ten of Swords. So now we're going to pick from the Rider Tarot deck. So we have the Knight of Cups, Justice card wanted to come out. Wheel of Fortune, and the Eight of Cups. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the Barbieri Zodiac Oracle deck. And we just had Water and Neptune jump out. Capricorn. And one more. Okay, and two just flew out. So we have Jupiter and the Sun in reverse. Let's see if we can get another card for a little bit of clarity on this Sun in reverse. Okay, and two more. So Mercury and Saturn. And now we're going to pick from the playing cards. So we have the 9 of clubs, 4 of diamonds, the 6 of hearts, and the Jack of diamonds. So starting off with the 8 of Wands, this is showing a transformation where some blocks need to be removed. So this full moon will be an opportunity to remove those blocks out of the way through your personal transformation. And this goes along with Scorpio season. And so if we have Taurus rising, then your descendant would be on Scorpio. So this is looking into your shadow side, literally being Scorpio, going into the depths and going through this powerful transformation. And again, there's a block. We're seeing this lack of balance and harmony. And so there is a new beginning that needs to take place. There's some action, some change. We're seeing this transformation for a lot of you. So this is a miracle full moon for you to help you through your transformation. And it does involve taking a leap of faith and going down this journey. And also being open to the universe, open to expressing and allowing this connection, this divine connection with the universe. And so this is a journey that a lot of you are going down. And again, it is this completion that involves connection, that involves this spiritual evolution. And this goes perfectly with this full moon as we are dealing with a culmination. This is a full moon in its exaltation. The full moon, the moon is exalted in Taurus. And so we're seeing this completion, this culmination. And so this is the ending of a cycle for a lot of you going down this road of transformation. And we see the Knight of Cups, where there is some initiation, some action that needs to take place as far as finding this divine emotional connection, and as far as expressing your feelings. And again, it kind of goes along with this journey that needs to take place in this connection. This divine connection keeps coming through for a lot of you. And so, are you connected? Are you connected to your guides? Are you in tune with your soul right now? Or all of your connections, all of your interactions of the highest, greatest good for you and your path? In the Justice card, this is where, again, we're seeing this completion. We're seeing something that needs to be resolved, something that needs to be brought up, and it goes along with this transformation. And we see the number 8 again with the 8 of Cups. So again, this transformation that has to take place. And so looking at, again, your descendant, your shadow side, looking at these unresolved parts of yourself that for a lot of you will be reflected in your partners or in your relationships. And this is fated. We have the Wheel of Fortune. This is a fated, destined space in your life. So take advantage of this. Allow this full moon to activate this change, this transformation in your life. This is a time of miracles. So are you accepting this gift? Are you accepting these miracles coming into your life? And with the 6 of Hearts, again, this is about finding that peace, that balance, that harmony. And it's very emotional. It's very much tied to your connections, to your relationships. And it is the end of sort of these old behaviors, these old habits, these old activities, these old things that have been done before. And so this is a transformation. This is about ending previous cycles. If you were going back during this full moon and going back to your past, doing these old behaviors, these old habits, this is derailing you from your mission, which is here, and building this beautiful foundation. And we talked a lot about how 2020 is this number 4 year, dealing with what is home base for you, what is the true divine emotional connection. And so this is about going down that spiritual road, connecting to what is truly divine, what is truly in harmony and in sync with who you are, finding this divine connection. And water, again, this divine connection keeps coming up. This is spiritual, this is emotional, this is divine. This is going in and, again, looking at these parts of yourself, especially with Neptune here. There's this element of the past. There's this element of these cycles, these karmic cycles, these generational cycles, these illusions, these old past connections, and really going towards the positive side of Neptune, really going towards that divine spiritual connection. And with Capricorn here again, this is destined, this is fated, this is where you are headed. And so this is the staircase to where your life is headed. And so this full moon, for many of you, is about the decision that you will make. Will you be open to this abundance, to this better life that is coming in for you? Are you open to this? This is about being open. This is about being accepting. This is about opening yourself up to the opportunity, to the possibilities of this divine path that is waiting for you on the other side of this transformation. And again, with the sun in reverse, this is about losing an old part of yourself. This is the death of the ego. And so there is something about these old patterns, these old cycles coming to an end in your life. And then we end with Mercury and Saturn. And so again, this is this divine connection. With Mercury, we are talking about communication. We are talking about your thought processes. We are talking about connection. And with Saturn, this is fated, this is destined, this is karmic. And so this is about where you are headed. This is about this divine connection. Are you connecting with the things that serve you, or are you not? Okay, so that was for Taurus. If you are a Taurus, sun, moon, or rising. Now let's move on to Gemini. So if you are a Gemini rising, we are dealing with your second house. House of finance and security. And the things that you value. So starting with the Connolly Tarot deck. So we start off with the Lovers, which is a card related to the sign of Gemini. We have Temperance in reverse, similar to what we saw before with Taurus. We have the Hermit. And one more. Six of Cups in reverse. Let's see if we can get a right side up card for some clarity. And 3 more cards wanted to come out for you. So we have the Two of Cups in reverse. The King of Wands. And the Knight of Swords, which is also a card related to Gemini. So let's see what we get from the Rider Tarot deck. Strength in reverse. The Four of Pentacles. And the Six of Cups in reverse, which is something that we saw earlier with the Connolly Tarot deck. And so that's something to note. We see this card repeat. And a few more cards came out for you. We have Death in reverse. The Three of Wands. The Eight of Cups. Page of Swords in reverse. The King of Pentacles. And we finish off with the King of Cups. So now we're going to go to the Barbieri Zodiac Oracle deck. Sagittarius, Capricorn, and let's see what else comes up for you. Sun in reverse, so we saw this earlier with Taurus. Gemini in reverse. Okay. Let's see if we can get another card. So we're doing something that is not aligned with who we are. This is you. This is your energy in reverse. So let's see if we can get some clarity. Pluto. Okay, now we're going to go to the playing cards for you, Gemini. So we have the 6 of clubs and the 8 of clubs. The King of clubs. And we finish with the 2 of cups, similar to what we saw with, the 2 of hearts, similar to what we saw with the 2 of cups. Okay, so let's take a look. So starting off with the Lovers, we're looking at duality. So there is something that is not aligned with who we are. And so there is a need to find this wholeness within ourselves. There is this need to find this divine connection. And for some of you, we are looking at soulmate and twin flame energies. And what this is telling me is, especially for those of you looking at twin flame energies, there's something about this where we need to find this wholeness within ourselves first. So this is about going in internally and finding that true divine connection. And again, something not aligned, out of harmony with who we are. And so again, finding this true divine connection and really looking inward at who we are. And we continue to see this theme with the Hermit. There is something about this journey within that we have to go on to really look at these parts of ourselves that are not fulfilled, and to fulfill these parts of ourselves on our own. So those of you Geminis out there looking for twin flames, looking for soulmates, there's something that needs to be fulfilled inward. And for those of you who aren't looking, there's still something about this spiritual journey of going inward. And I know for a lot of you Gemini out there, that is challenging. But that is what this Scorpio season is about, going deep, going into the darkness, going into this internal space and dealing with these unfulfilled, unresolved parts of who we are. And again, showing the Six of Cups and the Two of Cups in reverse. There is again something about this misconnection. Not only this connection with who we truly are, but also with what is truly divine, what is truly our path, where we are truly headed. And for some of you, you are in a place of questioning and really looking at what decision you were going to make. For others of you, there is no action happening towards this, and this is leaving this disconnect from this higher purpose, this higher calling, especially as we're moving and pushing into 2020, which is home based. So again, there is something about this Scorpio season and about moving into 2020 where you really need to go into this internal space and deal with these unresolved, unfulfilled parts of who you are and fill it up on your own, not through these twin flames or soulmates or anything outside of who you are. And something to note about relationships, since we are looking at twin flames and soulmates, is relationships are mirrors. So any unresolved problems, you will see that in your partner. And so this is why it is important to go into that inner realm within yourself and work on addressing these issues. And that takes us to the King of Wands, where this is about you stepping into your truth, your power, who you are. And not only that, but again, finding this true connection and speaking your truth with the Knight of Swords. And this is your card, so this is about you stepping into your power. This is about you stepping into what you do best, which is Gemini, communication, speaking your truth. And strength in reverse. Again, there is something about this lack of truth or fulfillment of self. There's something about lacking your true power, which when we look at the strength card, this is a number 8 card. So this is dealing with this internal transformation, Scorpio, and there's something about this card and vulnerability is the true strength here. This openness, this vulnerability, and this acceptance of self. And that takes us to the Four of Pentacles, where again, we need to get into balance, into alignment with our true purpose and who we truly are. So especially for those of you out there who are not grounded, this would be a time to become more grounded so that you can get in touch with who you truly are on an internal level, deep within your soul, within who you are. And with the Six of Cups in reverse, again, this is confirmation that there is this disconnect from what is home. The Six of Cups, there's something about the Six of Cups that is home energy, that is harmony, that is peace, that is living in that harmony and peace, and living in this true home of home is where the heart is. So where is your heart at? Are you doing, are you feeling, are you in a space that is in true divine connection to what your heart is actually calling for? Or are you doing something that is detrimental to who you are? Death in reverse, which death in reverse, a lot of people freak out over the death card. The death card represents transformation. This is about death of the old you, death of the ego, death of these negative parts of who you are. And so when we see death in reverse, there's this resistance to change. There's this resistance to transformation. And so are you willing to make that change? Are you willing to go in? Death being related to Scorpio energy of transformation, going internally and going through this life transformation that will take you to your highest, greatest good. Again, Sagittarius comes after Scorpio, Sagittarius, the opportunity, which takes us to the stairway of Capricorn, fulfilling your highest, greatest good and purpose. And with the Three of Wands, again, there is something about being open to your true power. Being open to actually taking on this transformation, actually dealing with these unresolved parts of yourself. And speaking of transformation, we see the Eight of Cups, the number 8, dealing with transformation. And Cups, this is emotional. This is going deep, internal, Scorpio, dealing with this internal realm of change and transformation. So this theme keeps coming up for you guys of really going through this transformation and dealing with these deeper parts of yourself so that you can step into your true power. The final phase of Scorpio, the Phoenix, rising from those ashes. And the Page of Swords in reverse again, not speaking or connecting or having the freedom to live in your truth. There's something about this Swords energy that is a clean cut. It is truth. It is honest. It is communication. It is connection. It is thought. So are you in your truth? And 2 Kings. We saw the King of Wands earlier. Now we're seeing the King of Pentacles and the King of Cups. So again, there is something about you standing in your power. But with the King of Cups, this is on an emotional, spiritual, divine level. And with the King of Pentacles, this is on a physical, grounded, practical level of you standing in your power, your truth. And for a lot of you out there, you are not. And there is something about 2020, again, being this home base year of, are you going to move to your spiritual divine path of power, of enlightenment, of truth? Or are you going backward into old patterns and cycles? And with the Six of Clubs, again, 6, balance, harmony, peace. And Clubs dealing with this power, this truth, this passion that lives within you. And there is something about you, Gemini, living in your truth and your power, moving into 2020. And we see 8 again, dealing with transformation. And so are you willing to allow these old parts of yourself to die off in this transformation, in this Scorpio realm of transformation, of going through this death and rebirth, of really stepping into your power, your truth, into who you really are on a soul level. And this is a very powerful message for you, Gemini. This is a very, very in-depth message of you stepping into your power and your truth. King of Clubs. This is the fourth king that we have seen. And there is something about a king being a leader, someone who is in power, someone who is standing in their truth. So is that going to be you going into 2020, or is it not? Are you going to be in your truth and your power and your dignity, or are you not? And it goes back to this 8, this transformation. And that is what we are in. We are in Scorpio season, this death, this rebirth, this transformation, this power, this death of the ego. Is that what you're doing, or is it not? And that is what Spirit is screaming at a lot of you right now, is that we are moving very, very quickly towards Capricorn season. And so a lot of these opportunities are ending. A lot of this time is closing in on a lot of you. So are you going to do this inner work so that you can step into your true power? And that takes us to the last card, the Two of Hearts. And so again, this connection that needs to take place, and there's something about two that is separation, that is cutting and slicing and removing of these old emotional patterns, of these old connections that no longer serve you. And so there is something about these old patterns, these old connections, these old attachments that need to be removed and sliced away from your life and from your truth. This is old stuff. Two is always the separation, the duality. And so we are needing to separate and remove these old attachments. So, Cancer. Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. If you are a Cancer rising, we are dealing with the third house of connection, learning, education, familiar surroundings. Let's see what we get for you, Cancer. The Five of Swords in reverse. the Sun, the Hanged Man in reverse, the Page of Cups in reverse, Strength in reverse, Justice, the Nine of Cups, the Moon, that is your ruler, Cancer, and the Two of Swords. Going to move on to the Connolly Tarot deck. The Eight of Cups in reverse, the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, and the Hierophant. So let's move on to the Barbieri Zodiac Oracle deck. Libra, Leo, Pluto in reverse, and Earth. Let's take a look at the playing cards. the Jack of Hearts, the Ten of Hearts, the Eight of Spades, the Seven of Clubs, the Ace of Hearts, and the Six of Hearts. So let's take a look. The Five of Swords in reverse. And so a lot of you are not open to these opportunities, to these possibilities coming in, and there is a need for a change in perspective, in mindset. There is this closed-mindedness to these new opportunities and experiences coming in. And with this full moon in Taurus energy, there is something about this beautiful abundance that is coming in. And so it's important to change this mindset, this perspective that is blocking and eliminating these possibilities and opportunities coming into your life. And it is one of the last opportunities as things are closing in, moving towards Capricorn season. Which takes us to the Sun. And this is about you tapping into your true self, into your truth, into your authenticity, and finding that joy, that peace, that harmony in your life. And there is something about this blockage from these opportunities with this closed-mindedness to these opportunities and blessings and abundance that is coming in. There is a block from who you truly are as you are standing in opposition to these new experiences and to these new opportunities coming into your life. And there is something about with this Hanged Man in reverse. A lot of people see the Hanged Man in a negative light, but there's something about the Hanged Man where it's like you are locked in, you are committing to this path. And for some of you, it is feeling a lot like some of you trying to back out, trying to sort of be on the fence and change your mind and go back and forth. And there is something about this Mars and Libra transit that is about being on the fence. Mars being the warrior, being the passion, the drive, sort of in Libra, where it has to weigh out what is fair, what is balanced, what is in harmony, and it is in detriment because it is blocking it from taking the action by sitting in this indecision, in this indecisiveness. And so there's something about this Cancer where it is like, are you fully locked in? Are you fully open to this new and better life, no matter how challenging it is, no matter what the opportunities are? And there is something about fear here. There is something about this fear blocking you from what you truly want, from what is truly aligned with who you are, what truly brings you this joy, this happiness, this sun energy of positivity into your life. And the Page of Cups in reverse. This is emotional for some of you. You are not willing to allow yourself to feel through these challenging moments in your life. You are not allowing things to flow. You're not allowing this divine acceptance and vulnerability to open up to these opportunities, to these possibilities. Again, there is this fear of this sort of challenge or opposition or pain or hardship that really needs to be addressed, that really needs to be resolved. And Strength is in reverse. And so again, there is something about not having the strength or the courage to be open. Many people think that strength is about being tough, but there is something with this Strength card that shows us that it is actually about being vulnerable. It is about being open. And a lot of you are in your Cancer shells at this moment, trying to do the Mars and Libra thing of weighing out and discerning things. And there's something about Scorpio season where you have to face what is hard, what is difficult, what is challenging, what is in this inner world within yourself that is unresolved, that is unfulfilled, that is fear and pain and is attached to the past. And so for you, Cancer, there's something about needing to be more open, more vulnerable, and allowing Spirit to navigate you through this, allowing yourself to go through these challenges, through these hardships, so that you can go to what is destined, what is for you and your truth. And that takes us to Justice, where there's something that needs to be resolved. There is something that needs to be looked at and addressed. And this is very much Libra moving into Scorpio, as we are sort of putting things on trial, looking at things and seeing what really needs to be resolved and addressed and looked at. But again, don't get too lost with this Mars and Libra thing of trying to weigh out decisions. This is decision time right now. And so what are you deciding? What are you finalizing with Justice? What is the final conclusion? And that takes us to the Nine of Cups, where again, you have to sit with your emotions. You have to sit with your attachments. You have to sit with where you are. You have to look at these things that you really don't want to look at. And again, with the Hangman in reverse, there was something about this resistance, this fear, this block that needs to be pushed through. You have to commit to what is your divine path. What is your life going to look like moving forward? What is the home base for 2020? And there's something about this Cancer North Node that this is a North Node in your sign of Cancer. This is you going to your destined fated path by living your truth and being who you are. Again, going back to that Sun card. And then there's something about this Moon card where it's like, again, but you also have to go into the depths of who you are and deal with things on an emotional, spiritual, magical level, going in and dealing with these unconscious patterns and habits. There's something about the Moon and habits. And not emotionally reacting to these challenges, to these blockages in your life, but allowing yourself to navigate through them and to really, again, step into what is magical, what is fated. And this is a full moon in Taurus. Another place where your home planet loves to be in Taurus. And so there's something about what is secure, what is comfortable, but not as in what is secure and comfortable in the past. But what are these new things, these new opportunities coming up in your life that are actually secure and comfortable? And there's something, actually, I don't even want to say the word comfortable, because there's something about staying in this comfort that is actually blocking you from your opportunities. And so the word that I really want to stress on is home. And so what is actually secure and home to you, not what is comfortable, because what is comfortable is staying in the past, reliving these old patterns that are actually blocking you from your divine, true calling. And that takes us to the Two of Swords, where you don't have all the answers. You can't see the outcome. Yes, you are going to be afraid. And there is something being removed. You are feeling like you are losing something. But at the same time, there is something about the Two of Swords where you have to just trust in spirit, trust in the universe, trust in your guides, trust in where you are going, trust in your true spiritual divine calling. For those of you living in fear, there is something about just going for it. Just going for what you know is true and divine to who you really are. Because with Scorpio, it is a full plunge into darkness and you cannot see what is there, but there is something about going through that process that transforms you and empowers you and lifts you up into who you truly are. And that takes us to the Eight of Cups. So again, this feels like a resistance to change, to the transformation that you must go through this spiritual quest, through this ability to be vulnerable and open and allow things to flow and allow yourself to go through this process. A lot of you are in resistance to what your truth is, to what is your true calling, to where you really are being called to move towards in your life. And the Queen of Pentacles, there's something about not nurturing, not doing what is best for you, not allowing yourself to really fulfill yourself, because you're blocking this resistance to change, this fear to go into this internal realm and to really face what you don't want to face. This resistance is blocking you from actually having what nurtures and supports and benefits you. There's something about the Queen of Pentacles and what actually nurtures and benefits who you are. And again, with the Ace of Pentacles, this is like, for a lot of you, blocking yourself from this new beginning that is here for you. This gateway to a new opportunity, to a new space that benefits and fulfills and nurtures you. There's a block. There's a block to what really is secure and what really is in a true divine connection with you, because you're living in sort of this resistance or this fear or this hesitance to, again, take this leap into this better life. And this is sort of your last opportunity, as we are in Scorpio season, and Scorpio is really pushing us to go through the depths, to go through this internal space within. And so with the Hierophant, this is asking you, what truly do you value? There's something about the Hierophant that is Taurus related. That is, what do you really value? What do you really believe in? What really benefits you? What really serves you in your life? And it's asking you this because for a lot of you, there is this change that needs to take place where you have to actually step into what really serves you, into what really benefits you, into what is really secure in your life. Because what lives in the past is no longer serving you anymore. We are at the end of this number 3 year of taking on opportunities and new experiences and getting into balance and alignment in your life to move into home base in 2020. And so there is something about this time that is like, what is this divine connection to home, to your heart, to your soul, to what is really divine going to look like for you? What do you really believe in? What is really of the utmost value to you? So that takes us to the Jack of Hearts. Again, needing to take action on what really feels divine and what is really connected to who you are and what the real relationship is going to look like, because there is something about this old relationship, and it doesn't need to be a partnership, but even this relationship to what is secure and divine and of the utmost highest greatest good to you. There's something about stepping into that and moving away from these old habits, these old attachments, these old patterns. And this is something that we've been talking about a lot throughout 2019 about this North Node in Cancer, South Node in Capricorn, of leaving behind what is old, what no longer serves you, and stepping into your true divine path and what is truly aligned with who you are. And again, this is a little confirmation with the 10 of Hearts. The 10 is completion. And so what are you ending? What are you completing? What are you done with that no longer is of a divine connection, or no longer serves you or nurtures you, or is really of the best emotional attachment to who you are? What needs to be completed? What needs to be ended? And that is so much in tune with this full moon in Taurus, as there's something about this full moon in Taurus that is a culmination, that is a completion, that is a manifestation of an ending of something that needs to come to its final decision in your life. And we see 8, a transformation. Again, we talked earlier about needing to have a new perspective, needing to step into what you are afraid of and to face it, and to change your thought process into something that is positive, something that is open to these new opportunities, because this is your path to transformation. This is your path to this death of these old parts of yourself, of this death of what no longer serves you, so that you can really step into who you truly are and what is of the utmost divine connection to who you are. And so there is this transformation of thoughts, of communication, of connection with the swords that needs to take place in your life. And with the Seven of Clubs, this is a spiritual growth that needs to take place, because there is something that is out of sync with who you are. Some kind of action, some kind of desire a vision, a wish that is not aligned with who you are. And there is something about the seven that is about misunderstandings and confusion and what we believe that isn't really true, and really having to step into our spiritual growth and enlightenment. And so, are you willing to do that? And again, we see the Ace of Hearts, where this is a new beginning. Again, hearts dealing with relationship. What is this new relationship that needs to take place? Whether that is actually a relationship or a relationship with what is truly divine to who you are, and a relationship with who you really are. There's something about this divine spiritual connection that needs to take place, of what really does serve you, what is really of the utmost, highest, greatest good to who you are. If we are going back to old relationships or old patterns or old jobs or old situations that no longer serve us, this is blocking you from stepping in to what Spirit has for you and what is of the utmost true divine spiritual connection in your life. And 2020 is going to be magical if you are willing to step into this new opportunity, this new experience, this new truth of who you really are. But if we're going backwards, then that is where 2020 becomes this challenging thing, because now you're resisting the truth of who you are and where you are headed, and now you are actually trying to climb vertically up a steep mountain when you should be at the top of the mountain in this true divine spiritual connection. And so utilize this Scorpio season and this Mercury retrograde that is so powerful and so connected with this Taurus full moon, of what is manifesting and what is of completion and what is the most magical miracle coming into your life and bringing you to your highest, greatest good. And with the Six of Hearts, this is, again, this keeps coming up of this emotional divine connection. And with the Six, there's something about peace and harmony and balance. And really, when you step into your truth and into this true divine spiritual connection and allow yourself to be open to this transformation into where you are headed in your life, that brings you to this beautiful reality of the truth of who you are and where you belong and who you are connected to, who is your divine tribe, and where are you at in your life. And so there's something about you stepping into this peace and balance and harmony, and you yourself know what is not of resonance to you. So cutting out anything that no longer serves you. And very similar to Libra, where we need to find this balance, this peace, this harmony in our lives. And again, with this Mars and Libra thing, I keep getting this for you, Cancers, don't be on the fence about what your decision is, about where you are headed, about what your life is going to look like. In Scorpio season, it is time for you to make a solid decision and course of action about where you are headed in your life and what it is going to look like. If you are on the fence, you will be climbing up that steep mountain. And so where is the true harmony and peace and balance and truth? There's something about Libra that is also truth and diplomacy and what is fair in your life. Finding that will be so powerful for you and your path. And to mention power, there is something about this next card, Leo, that Leo is about expressing yourself fully from the heart. It's about this inner child within and this true expression and love and romance and joy and excitement and happiness. Leo is this warmth in your heart and this desire to express that warmth and that joy and that pride and that confidence. And so, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to express the truth of who you are by expressing that warmth and that joy and that true desire, that passion to connect and to love? Or are you blocking yourself from that? For a lot of you, I talked about blocking from this transformation, which is so in sync with Pluto in reverse. Pluto, we talk about this death and rebirth, this transformation, this power, this intensity. And again, there's something about, for a lot of you out there, Cancers, sort of rejecting or having resistance towards this intensity, towards this darkness, this pain, this internal space within. But there's also something about going into that space and dealing with that internal space and going through that powerful transformation that really, really empowers you and allows you to step into the truth of who you are. And this keeps coming up for you, Cancer, about going through this death of what is old, of what no longer serves you, and stepping into your truth. There's something about just pushing through this fear and taking that leap, stepping into that solid decision about what your truth is and where you're headed, that empowers you, that transforms you into the phoenix that rises from the ashes. And that takes us to your last card of Earth. That is, what is of the utmost value to you? What nurtures you? What serves you? What grounds you? What is really secure? What are you really in touch with, in sync with? And what serves you in your life? There's something about Earth and loyalty and security and stability of what serves you, what benefits you. And this is so connected with 2020 about this number 4 year of what is your home base going to look like? What is it that is really secure and that is really going to nurture and benefit you and serve you on your path? Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you're Leo rising, this is in your 4th house of home and family and what is secure and comfortable. So starting with your ruler, the Sun, and reverse. The 2 of Swords in reverse. The Queen of Cups. And the High Priestess. The Ace of Cups in reverse. The Knight of Cups. The Ace of Swords. The 3 of Wands. Temperance in reverse. The 9 of Wands. The Fool. And Judgment. And so let's take a look at the Barbieri Zodiac Oracle. Mars, the Sun in reverse, so we see that again. Air in reverse. Jupiter. Aries in reverse. Scorpio. Pluto. And your very own sign, Leo. Queen of Clubs. Three of Spades. Eight of Diamonds. Eight of Spades. And the Four of Hearts. So starting off with the Sun in reverse, there is something about needing to step into what makes you happy. And there's something to say about this energy that feels very serious, very focused. And so during this Scorpio season, it's important to remember that stepping into this joy, this happiness, is aligned with who you truly are, especially for you, Leo. There's something about the sign of Leo being in touch with this inner child of wanting to laugh and to experience joy and love and to express the warmth that is in our heart. And so remember this on your journey, Leo, Sun, Moon, and Risings out there, of remembering to be happy and to experience this joy and to do the things that are fun. This is still in tune with your path of remembering to have fun as you are navigating through this journey. And the Two of Swords in reverse, which there is some old thought patterns, there is some old perspectives that still need to be severed, that still need to be cut and removed from your life for a lot of you out there. These old attachments that are constricting you from trusting and allowing and accepting this truth, this divine connection in your life. And that takes us to the Queen of Cups, where again, there's something about allowing spirit and allowing what truly nurtures you and what is of the utmost divine connection. And also something about giving, this giving and receiving of what nurtures you. And for a lot of you, there's something about needing to express your talent or your gift, which very much makes sense as we step into this next card of the High Priestess, of what is truly divine and intuitively connected to who you are and navigating through. And there's something about this secret or hidden part of who you are and needing to express these gifts or talents or these parts of yourself to others. And so what is it in you, Leo, that you need to express or show to others out there? Leo being a great sign for leading by example. And that takes us to the Ace of Cups, where again, there's something about not allowing yourself to accept or allow this divine connection, this divine offering, this divine spiritual connection to who you are and to this new and better life coming in. And needing to step into that feeling, step into that connection, step into what is divine and what is on your spiritual path of who you are. To allow yourself to flow with what is aligned with who you are and to where spirit is guiding you in your life. And the Ace of Swords is here, and there is something about this sword being the sword of truth. And so this is a new beginning, but this is not easy or harmonious. This is huge. This Ace of Swords is coming out with a huge opportunity that is making a huge impact in your world. And there's something about this energy of this new opportunity that is also allowing other things that no longer serve you to fall down and break apart around you. And so, are you stepping into that divine path and that divine connection moving forward? And with the Three of Wands here, there is something about believing and accepting and being open to needing to go on this journey, go on this path. And there's something about the number 3 about opportunities and being open and about expression and new and better experiences in your life. And so are you willing to go on that boat ride? Are you willing to go down that journey and experience these new, more fulfilling experiences in your life? And there is something about needing to experience and enjoy these opportunities and allow them to come through in your life, because there is something that is out of alignment with who you are. And again, this goes back to the beginning, where there is something about taking this path and this need for change so seriously that there is this disconnect from the inner child. There's this disconnect from what is really fulfilling, what really makes you happy, what really gives you joy. And if there's something about this spiritual divine journey that if it does not make you laugh, if it does not give you joy, if it does not bring this peace and harmony and this fun and excitement into your life, then it really is not of the utmost highest part of your life, because we're taking this spiritual divine journey so seriously that we're missing that the heart has to be in it too. And that takes us to the Nine of Wands. And there is something about the Nine of Wands that is always a gateway to move away from something that is old. 9 being the number of ending. And there's something about this energy as a life path 9. There's something about this energy that is recognizable about ending and completing and moving away from this old energy and going through the gateway, but are you willing to go through that gateway? And so there is something ending in your life, something that is old that no longer serves you, and it is opening the door for something new in your life. And yes, as you go on your spiritual journey, it is not going to just be this serious thing. There is something about needing to add this humor, this joy, this excitement, this fun to it as well. And Leo, that takes us to your next card, the Fool card, which there's something about not overthinking it. And there's something about with the Fool card where he isn't really evaluating all of these directions and all of these little details, but there's something about him just going for it and just trusting in his intuition without really putting all of this analysis to it. And there's something about analysis paralysis that has to be said about, are you getting too much in your head and too much overthinking the situation, and this Mars and Libra energy of just being on the fence and I don't know, maybe so, maybe this way, maybe that way, going back and forth? Or are you in this full Scorpio dignity of making this true and powerful and honest decision about where you are headed and what is going to transform in your life? And we notice that the Fool card is the 0 card, so there is something about the 0 being this divine infinite number that has infinite possibilities, and so it really doesn't matter as long as it is in tune with who you are. And so check yourself to see, are you trying to analyze? Are you trying to look at every little detail, look at every little thing and overthink things, or are you just going for what is in tune and in sync with who you are? And that takes us to Judgment, where it is about, are you willing to make that judgment call? Are you willing to go with what is spiritual and divine and what truly fulfills and completes you? And that is what this Judgment is about. A lot of people think this Judgment card is about judging, but it is about the judgment that is inside of yourself, within yourself, about, are you going to make that judgment call of, are you willing to go to your highest destined place in your life? Or are we just going backwards and backwards and backwards into these repetitive cycles that leave us stuck into 2019 and no more going forward into our destined path of this home base in 2020? And so that's important to remember, is to make that judgment call inside of yourself to see, are you willing to take this thing to the next level? Are you willing to go with what is aligned with who you are? And I just want to show you there's something similar about this energy of the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Clubs. Even though we are dealing with different elements, there's something about, are you nurturing? Are you providing? Are you fulfilling? But for you, Leo, this is the clubs, that is fire, that is that fire that burns within your heart, the heart of the lion, of, are you doing what you love? Are you doing what is making you happy and fulfilled and expressing that true warm-hearted nature of what Leo the Lion is really about. And that takes us to the Three of Spades, where there is, again, this need to change the perspective or the thought. And there's something about this three about actually just being open and taking on the opportunity of what is, again, going back to that Fool card, just kind of stepping into what your intuition and what your truth is calling for, versus trying to do this Mars and Libra on the fence thing of going back and forth and going, I don't know, maybe, or maybe not, or I guess so, or going back and forth on decisions. But there's something about going to 2020 that is actually about fulfillment and nurturing the soul and what is of the most spiritual divine connection, because this is the home base, the number 4 year. And the 8 of Diamonds of this physical transformation that needs to take place. So physically stepping into what is truly aligned with you and stepping out of what is not aligned with you. So this empowerment, this transformation, this death of the old, again, something about that Sun card in reverse about shedding off the old and having more fun and doing what is exciting and what is joyful and what is humorous, because that is truly in sync with who you are. And there's something about that being connected to the sign of Leo, dealing with the inner child and the full expression of that fire burning in the heart space. And that takes us to the Ace of Swords, where again, this relates to that Ace of Swords card of this being a huge opportunity, this huge new beginning, but it is something that is very profound, that shakes up everything in your life. And there's something about these old things shedding and falling apart and no longer serving or providing you what it once did, because this is about you stepping into your truth and really expressing who you are. And speaking of this home base in 2020, this card is perfect with the 4 of Hearts, and it is perfect with you being a Leo connected to the heart space of this home, this connection, this divine spiritual connection of going to what is really home, not home as in a building, but home as in what is connected to the heart space. So what is that true divine connection for you? Are you really moving into that space? Or are you blocking it? Are you going backwards? Once we move into Capricorn season and into Jupiter in Capricorn and into this solar eclipse in Capricorn and into 2020, there's no going back. The direction is forward, and the choice is, are we going to our highest destined path, or are we going to what does not serve us and what is familiar and comfortable and just takes us into repeated karmic cycles and patterns, keeping us chained in our lives. And Mars is here, so again, this passion, this drive, this focus to push forward And there's something to say about this card being here because Mars is in Libra right now, where it is on the fence, trying to find what is peaceful and fair and what is just, versus taking the action that is necessary. And so there's something about getting too much in the head and not acting on what you just know intuitively is connected to your divine purpose. It's decision time. It's not time to do this back and forth dance. And then we see the sun in reverse again. This was the first card that came up for you. And so again, there's something about shedding the old self and about having this true connection to your heart space of what is fun, what is joyful, what is humorous, what makes you happy, what fulfills you, what is positive, and what resonates with your truth. And air is in reverse, so what are you connecting? Are you connecting to something that doesn't serve you? And so again, going along with this sun card, there's something about connecting to your truth. Air is truth, communication, connection, and there's something about that. And then Jupiter is the abundance, the opportunity, the lessons. And so are you open to that? Are you allowing this abundance to come into your life? And know this abundance is not all positive. Some of it is lessons, challenges, things that you need to work through to get you to that better life. And so are you willing to accept the abundance coming into your life, whether it is good or bad, because it will help you learn and grow and expand in your life, because that is what Jupiter is, the planet of growth and expansion. And so are we going to fulfill ourselves with this massive abundance coming in? And this abundance is tied to the whole year of 2019. There's something about this number 3 year of opportunities and new experiences. But that is closing as we move closer to 2020 of this home base. And so what is your home base going to look like? Are you willing to take these opportunities to grow and to move into your home base? And this Aries in reverse is so perfect as it relates to Chiron retrograde in Aries at the moment. And it will not move out of that space for a while. And there's something about Chiron in reverse in Aries that is the ultimate decimation of the ego. There's something about the sign of Aries that is connected to ego, to what we believe is self. And there's something about Chiron that is the old wounds, the wounded healer of what do these wounds look like and how are you going to use them to not only heal yourself, but to also heal other people on their journeys by sharing your story. But there is something about this decimation of self, and we saw it also with the sun in reverse twice. And so this old identity that you are attaching yourself to is decimating, it is falling apart, it is diminishing. And there is something about that reveals who you truly are underneath that mask. And so are you going to live in these old identities of who you think you are, or are you going to step into who you really are? And there's something about Aries that is the leader, that is the initiator, but it cannot be the leader until that mask is fully removed. And so there's something about moving out of that old identity, that old space. And this is so connected with you as a Leo, as Leo is such a leader by example. But there is something about this ego, this mask, this identity attachment that needs to be removed, that needs to be diminished. And that sounds scary, and it might be a scary process, but it is a process to go through. And it is so connected to Scorpio. It is so connected to Scorpio, which is about going into that dark, deep internal realm and going through that powerful transformation. And speaking of Scorpio, that is our next card. And there's something to say about these last three cards that are so in sync with this entire message for you of Scorpio, Pluto being the ruler of Scorpio, going through this deep, dark, intense death and rebirth, this transformation, and coming out the other side as stepping into your power and being who you truly are as a Leo, and Leo being the last card in this deck. It is so divine and so perfect of a message for you. And so with this Scorpio card, this is about going into that deep, dark internal realm within yourself and facing those fears, facing those old attachments, those negative parts of yourself, these old habits, these old restrictions, these old doubts, all of these things in this deep, dark Scorpio internal realm. And there's something about Scorpio that seeks out this intimacy and deep emotional connection, but is that connection serving you? Or are you injecting yourself with poison? There's something about Scorpio that is poison, about this stinger, about this poison, about this fixed water sign of Scorpio that is ice, that is, are you freezing yourself to death? Are you sticking yourself with poison? Are you doing what doesn't serve you? Or are you connecting and attaching intimately to something that actually is fulfilling and of the utmost, highest, greatest good in respects to who you are? Scorpio is very, very deep. And are you willing to go that deep? And that brings us to Pluto, which is the ruler of Scorpio. Once again, about going through this powerful transformation. And yes, Pluto is a malefic planet. It is very dark. It is very intense. And there's something about facing what you're afraid of, facing that darkness, facing that pain, facing that intensity. There's something about Scorpio about going to the places that you don't want to go, that you're afraid of. And stepping into your power. There is something to say about Scorpio having 7 different archetypes. And the Scorpion is very, very low. It's very, very low frequency, root chakra energy. And so the Scorpion is not the most powerful version of Scorpio. There's something to say about how Scorpio goes through all these phases and then actually steps into its true power as the phoenix. as the one who rises from its own ashes? And are you willing to go through your own darkness and rise from that darkness into your light, into that phoenix? And that is Scorpio. And that is what it's asking you is, are you willing to go to those depths, to go through that intensity? Scorpio is powerful. But are you going to accept your true power? And that takes us back to you about stepping into who you are as a Leo. And there's something about Leo that is actually connected to who you really are. As Leo is ruled by the sun, which is the self. And there's something about Leo ruling the heart space of expressing that love and that confidence and that warmth that is in the heart. That is Leo. And so, are you honestly expressing what is in your heart as a Leo? Because that is what Leo teaches us, is to express from that heart space. And so are you willing to evolve in your sign? Or are we going to stay in these lower vibrations of Leo, of selfishness, of the ego? Is that where we're staying, or are we going to this high frequency of the Leo heart space, of this expression of love? That is Leo, the lover. Virgo. If you are a Virgo sun, moon, or rising, in Virgo, this is in your 5th house. Of love, creativity, excitement, the inner child. What is fun? What is joyful? Four of Wands. So we are starting off good. 8 of Wands in reverse. Page of Wands. So we're looking at a lot of fire. Let's see what else comes up. the Sun in reverse. So we saw this before. Two of Swords in reverse. And Judgment. Lovers, very similar to what we saw with Gemini. The Hanged Man in reverse. The Seven of Cups. The Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, and the Five of Cups. So Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Cancer. Mercury, your ruler, in reverse. Venus in reverse. And Earth. The Queen of Diamonds, the Four of Hearts, the Five of Hearts, and the Six of Diamonds. So starting off with the Four of Wands. This is a celebration. And so there is something about this full moon in Taurus that is a celebration of what you have accomplished in your life. And there is something about being joyful and having fun and living your life with no regrets. And so Virgo, there is something about not overanalyzing the small details and enjoying where you are in the present moment. And doing that is actually removing blockages. And so there's something about the Eight of Wands. And 8, again, the number 8 is coming up for a lot of you as we are in a process of transformation. This is transformation season in Scorpio. And with this 8 of Wands in reverse, there's something about these things in your life that are distracting, that are blocking you from going through this full transformation. And so are you being distracted by things around you? Are you allowing things to block you from having your most fullest life? And again, there's something about this fire energy of this warmth, of this expression of this joy and celebrating your life. And with the Page of Wands, this is the fullness of that expression. And so are you living your life, or are you analyzing your life? So there's something about removing yourself from all these distractions and limiting belief systems and looking into all these little details. And this is really calling for you to look at the big picture. And so Virgo, right now, if you are in a space of looking at all these little details, Spirit is really calling for you to step back and look at the big picture and to really live your life to the fullest. There is something different. There's a different perspective about stepping back and looking at everything from a clear and honest point of view versus getting stuck into the little details. And there's something about being overly critical about every little thing when all of those little details make up something very beautiful and big and magical in your life. And again, this fire energy comes through with the sun in reverse. So are you willing to be in that space of joy, of happiness, of living your life to the fullest? Or are you going to analyze every little detail and go into these distractions and all of these things happening around you and all these blockages and limiting belief systems? And so this is asking you to be free and to be open to expressing and experiencing your best life possible. And it is a change with the Two of Swords. It is a removal of these old ways of seeing things. And so it is a change in your perspective. It is a change in the way that you are seeing the truth of what it is. Which leads us to Judgment, which is about that judgment within yourself of calling judgment and going to that space of deciding if you are going to live your highest, greatest good, or if you are going to go into these past cycles and behaviors and patterns in your life, and there's something karmic and fated about that. And so a lot of people think that karma is about getting something back in return for something that you have done, like an attack. But karma is something that you create in yourself, of these patterns, of these cycles, of doing these old behaviors over and over again. And that is the true karma. And so are you willing to make that judgment call and to really step up, to really taking on what is true and what is divine of your path in your life, of what Spirit is calling you to do? And no matter what you call that, Spirit, God, the universe, right? This is about stepping up to that higher calling in your life. And it is so in sync with your true purpose as a Virgo of serving. And of service, of this duty to this higher calling. And again, the lovers of this fulfillment of this separation from what really fulfills you and what really completes you. And so are you willing to step into, again, these opportunities, these experiences that truly fulfill you? Or are you going to continue to separate yourself? The lovers, this duality of two, what is actually one inside of yourself, of are you going to fulfill yourself? Are you, it's not about seeking what's outside of you, this connection to other people or other things. It's about what is inside of you. And so that happiness, that fulfillment is found within yourself and is reflected as a mirror in any relationship that you are in. But are you going to do that work internally, or are you going to step into these relationships and these connections that mirror what is actually going on inside of you? And this is where this unhappiness, this unease, these relationship issues stem from your own trauma and your own need to fulfill what is deeply within yourself. And that self-love comes first, always. So do you love yourself? Or are you seeking that love outside of yourself? And the Hanged Man in reverse. We saw this earlier. And there's something about the Hanged Man. A lot of people think the Hanged Man is a negative card. In fact, the Hanged Man is about commitment and what you are willing to tie yourself and go all the way and fully into committing to in your life. And there's something about this Hanged Man in reverse about stepping out of your commitment and going back and forth and trying to weigh out decisions that don't make sense. And also something about connecting to things that don't actually serve you. And so are you willing to commit to what actually serves you? Are you willing to tie yourself down to something that really fulfills you, something that really nurtures you, something that really serves you, something that is really in sync with who you truly are? Or are we just going to go back and forth on this Mars and Libra fence of, I don't know, maybe, let me weigh out all the decisions, because remember that Mars is in detriment in Libra, because Mars is the warrior, the passion, the drive to move forward, where Libra is about peace and harmony. And so there's something about Mars in Libra trying to find that peace and harmony, putting it in detriment from moving forward. And so there's something where when we're making these Mars decisions, we can't keep going back and forth trying to find where the balance and the fairness and the harmony is. We have to make a solid decision and move forward. And that is why Mars is in its dignity in Aries, which is the leader, the driving force that initiates into the action. So are you willing to step into radical action, or are you going to sit on the fence and keep trying to find what is fair and what is balanced? So this is about pushing forward and making a solid decision in your life that serves your highest, greatest good. And speaking of decisions, we have the Seven of Cups, which is a crossroads of what decision are you going to make. And there's something about the Seven that is about confusion and misunderstanding and trying to go back and forth. But there's also something about the Seven that is trusting in your intuition and going for what is spiritually aligned with you and going through this spiritual growth in your life. So are you willing to trust internally in your intuition and to take action, Mars? Or are you going to stay on the fence, Libra, trying to weigh decisions? So you're at this fork in the road. And Scorpio, Mars is also dignified in Scorpio because Mars is able to make clear-cut decisions in Scorpio, because Scorpio does not hesitate and try to weigh out decisions. Scorpio already knows intuitively where it is going. And so there's something about this that is, are you willing to go into that Scorpio darkness in depth of really going through this powerful transformation in your life? Or are you just going to stay at the crossroads and keep weighing decisions because time is running out on this decision of where you are going and what is fulfilling? And this is the Seven of Cups. Of Cups is water, of what is fulfilling, what is nurturing, what fills you up emotionally, and what is of the highest emotional connection. And there's something about Scorpio again where it's like this stinger is poison. So are you going to poison yourself by attaching? Scorpio wants to attach to something that is intimate, that is emotionally fulfilling, but does it really fulfill you, or is it just a short hit of pleasure and passion and what you believe is fulfilling that really isn't? So this is about making a solid decision, Scorpio, about what is nurturing and truly fulfilling to you. And with the Ace of Pentacles here, this is a new beginning. And this is a new beginning, opening a gateway for you to walk through. But do you have the confidence in yourself and in your intuitive guidance to walk through this gate, even though you don't know what is through this gate? And the Ace of Wands again, Ace is a new beginning. And there's something about this Ace of Wands, though, that is destructive. This is fire. This is passionately burning through. This new beginning is passionately burning through all of these things that no longer serve you. And so are you willing to let all those things burn off from your life? Are you willing to allow these things that no longer serve you to fall apart and diminish in your life? Or are you staying in these old patterns, these old cycles? This new beginning is here for you, but are you willing to step in it? And it's going to feel like a loss because you are losing a part of yourself that no longer serves you. But are you still willing to go for that no matter what? No matter if you are afraid? There's something about that, Virgo, where it's like, are you willing to step into something that you are afraid of, something that is here for you, that is fulfilling, that is nurturing, that is taking you to the next level, even though you can't physically see it or understand it or know what it is? And so it is Scorpio of, are you willing to trust in your intuition? Scorpio can see what is behind the scenes and what is deeply embedded in the psyche of who we are, because it is trusting in that intuition. And are you trusting in your intuition? And then the Five of Cups, which in the Five of Cups, there's something about how there are these two chalices that are full, that are open and ready to be received. And he is sort of looking at these other three chalices that are empty, that are not fulfilling, and sort of looking back at it, like looking at the past of what is no longer fulfilling and nurturing to you. But are you willing to just take a chance and take those two chalices of what is actually fulfilling to you? Or are we just looking at those three chalices that is of the past, that is no longer serving you? And there is so much pain and suffering in that comfort of just sitting in that space of doing what no longer serves you. And we think comfort is safety, but there's something about comfort that is limiting on you, that is restricting you from living your best life. And speaking of comfort, we start off with Cancer, which is about what is safe and what is nurturing. Cancer is the mother of the Zodiac, of what is really home and what is a divine spiritual connection to who you are. And that is where the North Node is. That is where our point of destiny is at. That is where we are headed. And so there's something about that that is like, are you going in that direction? Are you going back towards the negative aspects of Capricorn, of staying in these old limiting belief systems, these old restrictions? There's something about these lower vibrations, these negative aspects of Capricorn, that is restricting and blocking you from your greatest life. So Cancer, are you willing to trust and to be open to this spiritual mission in your life of going towards what your best life is? Are you open? Are you trusting? Do you have this emotional connection, this intuition? There's something about Cancer with this motherly intuition of just trusting and believing in the growth and the nurturing that you see before your eyes unfolding, even though you don't know what it looks like. There is something with the sign of Cancer that is about a mother looking at her child growing, and you don't know what that looks like until it is fulfilled. But it is there in that, still in that motherly intuition of trusting in that. And so do you trust in yourself? And we have Mercury and Venus in reverse. And there's something about Mercury and Venus being related in the way of connection and relating to others. There's something about Mercury dealing with communication and our thought processes and networking and the way that we connect to others. And there's something about Venus that is this love that connects us and draws us and relates us and attaches us to others who are on the same wavelength as us. There's something about Venus and attraction, but it attracts what mirrors who we are. And even though that mirror sometimes is mirroring back to us these negative aspects of who we are, it is because it is parts of who we are that are not being addressed, that are not being resolved. And so this is asking you, are you willing to step into that? And again, there's something about this that is so Scorpio of, yes, Mercury is retrograde and Scorpio down in the depths of the underworld, uncovering and revealing and bringing up these things that need to be resolved in our lives. And it's intense and it's scary. That is Scorpio. That is the realm of Scorpio. It is scary. It is intense. You have to go into this darkness in order to rise to the light. But are you willing to do that? Are you willing to connect to this? Because something to remember is that this darker part of who you are is part of who you are. In this spiritual metaphysical community, we preach a lot about love and light. But Scorpio reminds us that the truth is not always love and light. There is this darkness. There is truth in accepting the darkness and working through it to get to the light. And realizing that it's not just about accepting the light, but accepting the darkness and the light, accepting the wholeness of who you are. And there's something about Scorpio that is truth. It is raw truth. It is the truth that is hard to swallow, but it is a part of life. And so are you willing to connect to that, to go through that intensity, to go through that darkness within and to address it and look it in the face and deal with it and work on it to evolve to a better being and a better life and a better connection to what is fulfilling to you and a better connection to your tribe, to who serves you and who is really on your side and who is really spiritually connected to you. And that takes us to Earth, of building this solid foundation, which is not a foundation of comfort, it is a foundation of security. And we keep having to mention the difference between this comfort and security, because this comfort is a prison. It is something that is keeping us chained and restricted from living our best lives. And yet there is something about what is actually secure and what is actually fulfilling and actually nurturing and actually connected to our spiritual truth and divinity that is actually waiting for us around the corner if we are just willing to trust and be open to these new experiences and to this better life. And there are so many people right now who are afraid of moving into this better life, because it is unfamiliar, because it is something that you were not able to see, something that you don't know, but you have to dive into it anyway to get that beautiful fulfillment, that beautiful outcome at the end. You have to dive into the darkness of Scorpio to get to these beautiful magical opportunities of Sagittarius. And so there's something about going into what is unknown, going into what you can't see, that gets you into something that is amazing, something that is fulfilling and beautiful in your life. And so are you willing to move into what is secure, into what the true foundation, into what actually serves you in your life, or are you not? Okay, and we're going to end this with Libra. So this is the last sign. So if you are a sun, moon, or Libra rising, this is for you. If you are Scorpio through Aries, there will be another video for you, so stay on the lookout. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new content, especially missing out if you are a Scorpio through Aries. Okay. So this is for Libra, Libra, sun, moon, or rising. Five of Wands in reverse. Seven of Wands. Knight of Wands. Queen of Cups in reverse. So let's see if we will get another card for some clarity. And we get the World card. The Seven of Cups in reverse. The Nine of Wands in reverse. The Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Materialism in reverse. And for those of you who are using the Rider Tarot deck, this is the equivalent of the Devil card in reverse. Let's see if we can get another card for some clarity. We have a lot of reverse cards. King of Pentacles. 8 of Wands in reverse. And let's get some clarity on that 8 of Wands in reverse. Page of Swords. So still seeing if we can get a card that is upright. The 4 of Wands in reverse. And the Star. So let's take a look at the Barbieri Zodiac Oracle. Pisces in reverse. Water. Aquarius in reverse. And Venus, your ruler. The Queen of Hearts. 9 of Clubs. Jack of Hearts. And 2 more cards came out for you, Libras. The King of Clubs and the Seven of Spades. So, the Five of Wands in reverse is showing an internal battle. Or this could also be a battle with others in your environment. But for a lot of you, I am getting this internal struggle. And this makes a lot of sense as Mars is in detriment in your sign of Libra. And this is because Mars is the warrior. Mars is the passion and the drive to take action. And it is in Libra where it has to weigh decisions and find what is fair and just and peaceful and balanced. And so there is something about too much of trying to go back and forth with decisions and not enough action of just stepping in and doing what you intuitively know is truly connected to who you are. So there's a lot of hesitance. There's a lot of this internal battle of, is this the right choice or is this not? And I'm going to go back, or I'm not, or this is it or this isn't, or this is the right decision or it's not. There's a lot of that internal chaos or battle or just going back and forth on decisions. And with this, the five talking about this expression, this connection, this openness, this opportunity. And there's something about this where it is like, are you going to participate in your life? Are you going to continue to stay in this internal realm of trying to make decisions based off of what is peaceful and fair? And so this is a call to action for a lot of you in your lives of doing and making a solid choice and solid decision on where you are going. So a lot of this back and forth and internal dialogue that is happening is actually stopping you from moving forward in your life. And so there's something about calling you to just jump into the experience and participate in your life and in the areas that you know that you need to take action and you need to initiate what is truly on your spiritual divine path so that you can transform and get to the highest place in your life. And we get the Seven of Wands that is so much related And there's something about the number 7 where we see this confusion or this misunderstanding. But there's also something about 7 where if you just trust in your intuition and just do what is spiritually and divinely connected to your truth and your path and your calling, that it will lead you into spiritual growth in your life. And again, with the Knight of Wands, this is where you need to take action, take charge, initiate in your life. And there's a lot of areas where a lot of you are sort of hesitant, or you are making intentions, making wishes. And there's something about this energy right now as we're in Scorpio season where wishing and hoping is not going to do anything without the action behind it. And so there's something about you needing to manifest your most beautiful life and to take charge and to take action in your life to make that happen. But all of this weighing of decisions and setting intentions in your head and going back and forth and hoping and wishing is not getting you to this full manifestation of what your life is going to look like. And even with the Queen of Cups, this is in resistance to what is nurturing and fulfilling to you. And it is in resistance to the flow of going with the flow of what Spirit is calling for you to do. And again, no matter what that means for you, God, Spirit, Jesus, the universe, this plan, this ultimate divine connection, are you in sync with it? Are you flowing? Are you trusting? Are you accepting? Are you allowing? Or are you in resistance to it by going back and forth in this decision state in your head of being on the fence of what you are going to do, or if you are going to take action, or hoping or wishing, and staying in this state of I'm not going to move forward or push forward and do what is in divine alignment with who I am. And there's something about the Scorpio energy of making a choice, making a decision, going for what is truly on your divine calling and path by going through what you are afraid of, or what is dark, or what is deep, and going into that intensity and making this manifestation happen in your life, empowering you, stepping into your own truth, where the ego and the old self and the old attachment to what the identity is falling away, and you are going into what is truly aligned with your soul. And that takes us to the world, because there's something about making a decision that literally puts the whole world in your hands. This opens up so many opportunities to you, and literally you can make anything possible in your world if it is spiritually aligned with who you truly are. And so are you willing? And there's something about this Taurus full moon that Taurus is the manifester. And so are you willing to step into what is magical, what is beautiful, what you are manifesting in your life? Or are you afraid to go there? And there's something about this Scorpio season, about all of this change and work that needs to take place, that there's this hesitance of, I'm afraid to do this, I'm afraid to step into this. And there's something about Scorpio where you have to just take the plunge into that darkness and just do what is spiritually aligned with who you are. And with the Seven of Cups, again, we see this indecision of there's something about the number 7 about misunderstandings and confusion about where we are going. And if you look at the 7 of Cups, he is at a crossroad of what is really fulfilling and nurturing and what is of the utmost highest divine alignment to who you are. And so this decision is vitally important, and Scorpio is that decision. There's something about Mars being dignified in the sign of Scorpio because Scorpio is set and knows where it is going. It is not this Libra thing about going back and forth about what is fair and what is harmonious in your life, but Scorpio just instinctively knows and just goes for it. And there's something about that, about are you willing to just dive into your truth? Are you willing to just dive into what is spiritually aligned with who you truly are on a soul level? And with the 9 of Pentacles, there's something about the number 9 that is an ending, that is something coming to an end. And are you willing to let go? Are you willing to allow that death, that ending to come in? And this energy is so this energy is so familiar as a life path 9 of, are you willing to allow these old parts of yourself to die off? And there's something about the 9 of Pentacles where this woman is just sitting in reflection, allowing for this change to happen, allowing for this death of the ego to happen, of these old attachments to what you believe your identity is versus what you really are on a soul level. And materialism is the equivalent of the Devil card in the Rider's Tarot deck. And there's something about the materialism card again that is like the lower nature of Capricorn, about these restrictions and being stuck. And so are you restricting yourself? Are you blocking yourself by attaching to these old situations? And there's something about that Devil or that materialism card that is about attaching yourself to this lower nature, attaching yourself to these lower desires, to these lower habits that don't serve you and don't serve your highest, greatest good. So are you going to keep attaching to these old things that don't serve you, or are you going to raise yourself up to the highest level in your life? And there's something to say about people trying to get under your skin and trying to accuse you and trying to tear you down. And are you going to emotionally react to that and allow people the keys into your truth, or are you going to ignore all of the distractions and all of the things trying to tie you down and hold you back, and persevere and move and push through that? And there is something to say about enemies and hidden enemies and people trying to tear you down. And are you allowing that? Because anything that goes against you is something that you allow. And that takes us to the 9 of Wands. Again, we see 9, which is an ending. Are you allowing that death, that ending to come in? And there's something about the 9 of Wands that is always a gateway, this doorway of moving past what is ending or closing in your life. And this is in reverse because there is this resistance of, am I going to keep staying in this Mars and Libra thing of going back and forth? And this is not about you being a Libra, because Libra is a beautiful sign, but Mars does not know how to navigate through Libra, because Mars is the warrior that pushes through with the passion and the drive. And there's something about Libra just sitting back and weighing the options. And that does not help you move into your better life. And so, are you willing to step through that doorway? And with the Eight of Wands in reverse, we're seeing the number 8 come up a lot. And the 8 is connected to Scorpio. It is dealing with this transformation. It's dealing with this change, with this death, this rebirth, this power, this intensity. And are you willing to go through that darkness and that depth? And there's something about the Eight of Wands, if you always look at it, that is about this blockage of, are you willing to go through that blockage even though it is there, and it is this fear and this hesitation of going through it, or are you just sitting back and watching it? And there's something about looking through the lens of your inner self and facing those demons and facing those darker parts of yourself and everything that needs to change in your life. And that takes us to the King of Pentacles, which is about stepping into your power, but not just your power that comes from what nurtures you fully. There's something about the King of Pentacles that is bountiful, that is abundance, and are you willing to accept that abundance into your life? And Jupiter is the planet of abundance, and there's something about Jupiter that, no, Jupiter is not always positive. But it is always positive, because the abundance, whether it is negative being a lesson or a challenge, it is pushing you to grow, and it is pushing you to expand and to go farther and to have your best possible life. So are you willing to step into your power by accepting that abundance and allowing all of these things to nurture and fulfill you to your highest, greatest good? Or are you resisting that? In the Page of Swords, there is something, again, about not stepping into your truth. We are dealing with swords, and there's something about how the sword is so precise in the cut, in the slice, in the feather. And it's something about this that is air, that is truth, that is communication. And are you willing to connect to your truth? Are you willing to step into that? And it goes along with this beautiful life that is waiting for you with the Four of Wands, of celebrating and enjoying life to the fullest. And for you, Libra, there is something for a lot of you where it's like you're not willing to celebrate in your life and to have the best life possible. And a lot of this goes to wanting to please others or make others happy, but are you making yourself happy? Are you pleasing others while not loving yourself? Because there's something to say about relationships being a mirror, and how people mirror back to you parts of yourself that you have to resolve and address in yourself. So are you loving yourself? Because that is how you attract love into your life. And that leads us to the Star, because you are meant to be balanced and to step into your beautiful life and your truth and to be who you really are to the fullest. So are you willing to be that star? Are you willing to shine in your truth and to fully step into who you are, no matter what anyone says, or no matter who is trying to tear you down, or these hidden enemies, or these people trying to block you or distract you or get in your way? But this is about you stepping into your own truth and accepting your truth no matter what is going on around you, and just being fully who you are and not needing to please other people unless it is really pleasing you. And again, with the Queen of Hearts, are you nurturing and fulfilling yourself? Are you pleasing yourself? Are you loving yourself? Because there's something about that keeps coming up for you, Libra, because there is something about you wanting to please or make other people happy. And there's something about the sign of Libra that is very much related to peace and harmony and relationships, but there's also something about that that is disconnected from the self. So are you in your true self, your true divine connection to what really serves you and what really benefits you and nurtures you to the fullest? Because that is what Spirit is calling for you. To live in your beautiful truth and your beautiful life, and again, to shine as that star. And again, we see completion with the 9 of clubs. There's something about the 9 that is an ending, a completion. And so are you willing to let go? And again, this is so connected to the 9 of Wands in reverse that came up earlier about, are you stepping into that new gateway and leaving behind what no longer serves you? And there's so many people holding on to what serves them because they want to please or make other people happier, or it's something about other people for you, Libra. It's something about people trying to tear you down or take advantage or not accepting who you fully are, and those people just have to get left behind as you step into the truth of who you are. And the Jack of Hearts, stepping into this true divine connection to Source, to Spirit, to who you are, to your destiny, to what fulfills you, to what nurtures you, to what is your highest calling in life. And not to these old relationships and these old habits and these old things in your life that don't serve you. And that takes us to the King of Clubs, which is about stepping into your fullest power. And there's something about it that is fire, that is about leadership and vision and about the self and about who you truly are. That is the fire and the passion. And are you willing to step into that? And again, that 7, that confusion, that misunderstanding that's coming from all of this spades thought. So are you in your head too much about these things, going back and forth, confused, getting lost in, I don't know if I'm going to do this, or I will or I won't, and going back and forth on decisions, Mars and Libra? Or are you going to push forward? And yeah, it's challenging as the 7 is dealing with the growth, and the growth is challenging. And there's something about pushing through that challenge and pushing and growing and getting to your highest version of who you truly are. There's something magical about this 7 that is spiritual, that is divine, that is who you truly are. And with Pisces in reverse, again, there's something about hidden enemies or enemies, people against you, trying to tear you down, trying to distract you. There's something with these lower levels of Pisces that is about illusion and deception and lies and deceit. And there's something about even flipping it around and trying to accuse you and put you as the bad guy. And there's something about you just needing to ignore that and push through and be who you truly are. And there's something as you get into the higher levels of Pisces that is magical and spiritual and divine, and merging with the beauty and the love and the divinity. So are you willing to do that? Are you willing to water flow with the universe? Be open and receptive and allow spirit to flow through you. Allow yourself to step into your destiny, into what truly fulfills you and nurtures you, and what you are truly divinely connected to. And Aquarius in reverse, something about not accepting who you are because of this need to please others. And there's something about the lower aspects of Aquarius that wants to just please other people and be a part of the crowd and just connect and bring in everyone. And there's something about, as you get to the higher degrees of Aquarius, the higher levels of Aquarius, that it is actually about this knowledge and this wisdom and this spiritual connection and this advancement and innovation and this uniqueness of self, and showing off who you are regardless of what anyone thinks. So, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to uniquely be who you are despite what anyone else thinks? Are you willing to be who you are despite all of these people trying to tear you down around you? So Libra, there's something about this time that is about you connecting to who you are. And again, there's something about Libra wanting to relate to other people, but the opposite of that is Aries, which is the self. And so there's something about you having to step into your true self and to just allow yourself to be who you are. And there's something about not pleasing other people when it doesn't please you. There's something about Libra and mirrors, and relationships are mirrors that show you these lower aspects of yourself. So are you willing to love yourself first and to be uniquely, truly who you are without trying to please or trying to be something else for someone else? And with this Aquarius in reverse, it's something about this Aquarius energy that is friendship and connection. But are you connecting to people just to please them, just to make them happy? Or are you connecting to the people who are truly on your divine frequency? And there is something about people hating and not liking you and trying to tear you down, but that should not stop you from your true divine calling. And this takes us to Venus, which literally is that love. And so this ties into this whole message of loving who you are and how that mirrors true love into your life and true connection. And there's something about Venus that is value. Venus is the ruler of Taurus, and there's something about Taurus that is the security and the value and what really matters, what really nurtures you, what really serves you in your life. But there is something, again, about all of these people around you that are distracting or trying to bring you down, and you're trying to please other people. But it's something about love that actually starts inside of yourself. And in this Scorpio season, there's something about Scorpio wanting this intimate, deep connection, but is that connection to something that is not actually serving you? Because Scorpio has a stinger, and there's something about that is poison. And are you poisoning yourself, and are you limiting yourself from what actually is nurturing and what is actually of the best possible spiritual divine connection to who you truly are? And are you going to love yourself and be that person and live in that truth and be who you are? And so it's such a beautiful message for you, Libra, to really be that love that is attracting everything that serves you and everything that is of the utmost value to you. So if you are Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, or Aries, then make sure to look out for the next video. Other than that, don't forget to subscribe if you are new to this channel. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. Share this with a friend, and feel free to leave your comments down below about your Mercury retrograde experience. And I will see you in the next video.